A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, those of you who are joining us in the auditorium, and those of you who are joining us online. Welcome to the HIT Foundation Dialogue. My name is Vignesh, and I'm really privileged today to introduce our two speakers for this very meaningful and I think very timely conversation supporting caregivers' mental wellness. I think during the pandemic, many of us realized how important mental wellness is. Many of us, in our own shape and form, faced different challenges during that period, whether it was the isolation of lockdown, whether it was being taken away from our traditional social circles, whether it was because we just didn't know what to do or didn't have outlets, maybe being stuck at home with our parents, our spouse, our family members. It took a toll on us. But mental health is very important. It's as important as our health. It is such a critical part of our own well-being. But how about those who care for others with challenges? Who care for those who are facing mental health crisis? Who cares for them? Who cares for the carers? Who worries about their mental health condition? And today we're truly privileged to have two very esteemed individuals share with us both their personal journeys, their personal stories, and also their professional experiences working in the mental health space, working with caregivers. And I'm also very privileged that we have a fantastic moderator so I can take a break and sit down. But ladies and gentlemen, let me start by introducing our two speakers for today. First off, we have Adjunct Assistant Professor Maleena Suppiah. Professor Suppiah is a professor in the Department of Psychological Medicine at the National University of Singapore. Her career as a food scientist, educator, and healthcare professional spans 6 countries and over 3 decades. She keeps healthy through educated nutritional chronicles, dancing, yoga, swimming, tennis, meditation, and cooking for her family and friends. In the sleep category, she admits that it's not optimal yet, but she's working on it. I think that's something many of us face. And joining Dr. Maleena on stage is our second speaker, Ms. Yohanna Abdullah. Yohanna is a program executive at Club Hill and a former Straits Times journalist. She's a versatile writer of over 30 years. As a program executive at Club Hill, she's also the author of 5 books on mental health, published between 2014 to 2020. Yohanna wrote 7 television series on Suppiah and Astro while managing her editorial and design consultancy. She penned an acclaimed play, Naked, staged by Theatre Kami. Most of her best creative works are inspired by her adventures with mania, since being diagnosed with type 1 bipolar in 1998. She has been a vocal mental health advocate since 2012. Ladies and gentlemen, we're really privileged to have two speakers with a depth of both personal and professional experience in the mental health space and as carers. So I'm truly honored to hand the stage over to our two speakers. And Ms. Yohanna, if you could start us, thank you.
I'm a 56-year-old mother of 2 with 1 bird. I lost 1 bird to heaven. And I have 3 fishes and I have 70 plants. I have also bipolar disorder type 1. And I had it in 1998. I was diagnosed with it after the unpleasant news that my husband was having an affair with his colleague. So I think maybe it was a combination of genes, environment, and pressure of working, then running my own business, and breastfeeding 2 children. One was 2 years old and one was 10 months old. So I think it was the straw that broke the camel's back, So I fell sick, and it was it was a very unpleasant experience because it was very scary. I think those who have had experience with mania would know that we have delusions and we don't quite get what's happening around us. And bipolar disorder started. My children were just 2 years old and 10 months old. So it has really been a long journey for me. And today I brought my mom with me. She's a very special lady because she is my number one heroine who took care of my children along with my mother-in-law. And they supported me in my journey of more than 20 years of having bipolar disorder. And this is a very serious illness. It just doesn't go away. And with me, actually, it's been uh, a very, I wouldn't say it's a painful journey, but it is a challenging journey because I had to go in and out of the hospital, the NUH as well as IMH for more than 30 times in my whole since I was 31 till now that I'm 56. And recently I was still at the mood disorder unit for having bipolar disorder. So my caregivers have been my parents, and my mother didn't know head or tail about bipolar disorder when she had to take care of me. And it was very frustrating for her, very frustrating and very painful to see me in a manic condition when I was doing things which is out of my nature, which includes stripping naked for the very first time when I had it, playing with my children, and just and after that having hypersexuality, which is very, very common with bipolar disorder, and then having impulsive behavior. So it was just very, very, it was crazy for me, but I think it was crazier for my parents. My dad was there with me at that time, and he was a strong person, but the strongest person I would say was my mom, because she accompanied me to all my doctor's appointments, even when I didn't want to go. I called my doctor her doctor because the two of them were so kamching, you know. They were more happy to talk about my illness than I was to talk about my illness. And then she was crying. I know she told me that she was crying in despair when she comes to the hospital and I treat her badly because I'm in the mania. I would scold her, I would call her, I would dare not say what words lah, but it's really bad words. And she doesn't recognize her daughter, her sweet daughter, who has been so polite, so happy, and now she's angry. I don't know what's happening to her. So I think it was many, many years between 1998 and until 2012, when she came to me and said, "Oh, there is a new club that is opening for Muslims, for those who have mental health issues." And so we went to the club on the first day. It was just a temporary place at a mosque. And for the first time, she had caregiver support from a lot of people there who were caregivers themselves, and who were likewise very clueless, you know, what to do with their. So they just provided support in terms of just being there for each other, listening to each other. And And some of the patients died, while giving support. And but we were through it thick and thin, and I'm very happy to say that this organization is now coming to its 11th year, and it is a beautiful organization that I work for, and I wouldn't be supported. They are a giver of care to their staff, quite a portion of whom are also people like me with lived experience. And I would say that it's a very rare thing for organizations to support their staff in this way, to allow them for hospitalization leave while they are in the throes of their illness. Yeah. And I would also say about another caregiver, which is, for us, bipolar disorder, we have a mood disorder unit in IMH. And it is a wonderful place to be because we also support one another as peers. And we come out and we form friendships, and we also support one another. And we give care. Caregivers are not just your mother, your father, your sister, but they are your friends. The caregiver means a giver of care. Yeah. And I believe that caregiving is a very heroic thing. It's a very heroic thing, and it's the best thing that you can do to another human being, to give care. And I don't know, I was not prepared for this speech today, but I just remember that there are so many people who gave care to me when I was not well. And recently, I was not well I was 1 month in mood disorder unit. But I tell you what, we give care to each other, the friends that are in there. We sing along, we make fun, we create things, and we do things together. And after we go out, we support each other with a WhatsApp group. And these are the people who attempted suicide. They cut themselves. And in this audience, I have a goddaughter also. I'm thankful for her to come today, a goddaughter and her friend, whom we met at MDU. Yeah, and so I would say that, there's so many things that we do that we can give care. When you see a neighbor who is unwell mentally, what do you do? Do you avoid the person? Or do you lower your gaze? There's so many things that we can do to give care. And my father, he is a strong person who gave care for me throughout my life until he passed away in last year. I was in MDU again, and he told me, come quickly, come out. It's already Ramadan. I'm going to, and the funniest thing was when I was high, I just exited the house. I told him, please don't dare die before I come back. And true enough, 3 weeks later, after spending a beautiful Ramadan with me and a beautiful Shawwal, Hari Raya with me for 1 week, he passed on. And then what happened? I am left with my mom. After 2 weeks later, my daughter left the house because she got married. So who are our caregivers now? My mom and me, caregivers to each other. My mom at 83, I at 56 with this chronic illness. Who's going to support us? There are people who will support us, I believe that. Foremost, my family, my sister and her 6 children and his 6 grandchildren. They give care every day. They will call, make sure that everything is okay. So giving care is an extended family thing. It's not just the immediate family. It's not just the son, the daughter, But everybody has to chip in. If not, the very fabric of our society will collapse. If people are going to say, it's not my business, it's not my business. Maybe that person doesn't took care of me when I was young. My mother-in-law, she took care of my son until now, until he's 26. They live together. It is a convenient, it was for convenience earlier, but I see the beauty of why they are paired together to live in one house, because they support each other. She is 80. She's 3 years older than my mother. Yeah, and who's going to support all these people? And thank God my mother is strong mentally. So is my mother-in-law. Not that she's not strong, but she does have issues. My mother-in-law, she still has depression sometimes. But she picks herself up, and she doesn't want to go down the drain. Yeah. So I believe that everyone has to play a part in giving care, and it's a sacred calling. It's not just anybody. You should feel that it's a sacred calling, no matter what religion you are, to give care to someone in need. It is of the highest calling, and to give back to those who have taken care of you, your parents, especially your mom, especially, because she has held you in her womb for 9 months. She has breastfed you. So the calling is a sacred calling. Yeah. So the challenges that we have, I think people have to say that it is my business. It is my business to take care of even my neighbor who's in need, my neighbor who's living alone, who has no children. It is our business. So can we actually do that? What do you think? Would you do it? Yes, sir, you would? For your neighbor?
Personally, I share deeply with what you say.
Mm-hmm.
When I got hurt as a caregiver, what I do is I use this 4 language to clean away.
Mm-hmm.
And these 4 languages are, please forgive me. I use this 4 language to clean away when I get hurt, whether I'm as a caregiver, like you say, is an honor and it's very sacred. The 4 healing and magical line in my mind, when I got hurt, when I give care, God is, I think is divine intelligence is teaching me a lesson also to help me to feel, I'm sorry. That is the first one. Please forgive me is number 2. It's very hard to forgive people. So when I touch, I'm talking personally about myself. So I will try to touch my heart, even if anywhere I think of the situation I was involved with the person, I got hurt or whatever, I say, please forgive me. I understand, I may not understand you, you are in my life and I'm in your life. Please forgive me. I'm so sorry you are going through this. I cannot feel as much as I like to feel about you. And that's number 2. And then I must also say, I thank you, that you are giving me this experience and these challenges in my life. And I say, the last one would be, it's not easy to love everything, every pain, every what, or I feel I may not deserve it, but I will still say, I love you. I want to clean. I want to get back to zero, no
Yes.
matter what, because I cannot understand everything in this earth, what happened, because I never see through the person's life 24 hours. Neither did the person see through my life 24 hours, how I feel, how I was hurt, whether I hurt the person or the person hurt me, despite of taking care. So it doesn't matter. So love is something like what you say. It's very sacred. It's unconditional.
Unconditional love.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I use these 4 lines to constantly, when it appeared, when the flashes happen in my mind, and then I would just say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, I love you, I thank you. Likewise, for all of us in this room, we are no perfect human beings.
There was one point of time when I was so frustrated with my mom because I felt that whatever she was doing was trying to put me, she was trying to put me in the right path, so-called right path, but I was in the thick of my mania. So I felt that she was oppressing me, controlling my movements, not allowing me to go out until there come a point that I left the home for 3 weeks with my boyfriend, and just stay on the streets. And there was a lot of anger and I would say, I don't like to say the word hate, but there was a lot of anger that was brewing inside of me. And only at the point of time when, in 2018, I had 3 episodes in 1 year, in half a year. And my psychiatrist and my supervisor said, I think there is too much tension between your mom and you. Maybe it will be better if you stay away at home. So I thought about it deep. It was a big knock on my head because I don't want to stay in the home where I have to work and then come back to the day and there's a lot of laws and restrictions. And I won't have my home, I won't see my children as often as I like. So it makes sense to me that I have to change my whole perspective. And that perspective was simple, like you say, it's forgiveness, right? For whatever you have done right, whatever I think you did, for whatever you have done wrong, or I thought that you did wrong, it's okay, like zero again. Come back to zero and just focus on unconditional love. It's not easy to learn unconditional love, but once you learn it, your life will become easy. Even as I go through my inside-outside admissions, my life is easy and it's serene. Why? Because I know that no matter what things that happen to me, it is for the best. There is a greater plan. In the 3 admissions that I was in last year and the year before, I'm writing a book. I'm an author, so what do I do when I'm in there? I write. I also like to doodle, so I illustrate. So God willing, there will be a new book that's coming out this year, which is called Karma Hotel, Poetic Stops in My Universe. Because why? Because Karma Hotel is the name I call Mood Disorder Unit. Because people are in there for the karma, I feel, somehow. That it's not, karma is not just good gets good, bad gets bad. But I think there is more multi-layered meanings to it, which I want to share in my book. And so I feel that wherever you are, wherever God puts you, you can do something good out of it. And if you have mental illness, or you have cancer, or you have leukemia, whatever illness, it's just a challenge for you to do good and to be the best that you are meant to be. Because all of us are unique individuals with various strengths and weaknesses, and we are here to shine on earth. We're not here to be despondent, be depressed. We are here to be our best. Yeah. And that's what, as caregivers, we motivate. We are not just caring as in the their food, their, the physical needs, but we are actually caring for their mindset, caring for their spirituality, making sure that they are being the best human beings that they can be, and then they can be happy. And they can be happy. How is it to be happy? To me, it's very simple. It's just to be grateful. Then you are grateful, you are contented, you are happy. Simple. My motto in life is ease, peace, bliss. No matter in whatever situation, that's what I am having. Ease, peace, and bliss. Yeah. Can I end there?
Yeah. You can always
Maybe
join
you want
in.
to.
I think they will have comments and questions for you,
Yeah,
Yohanna.
okay.
Thank you so much for sharing. I know it's not easy in a public place and also being online, being recorded and all that. So it takes a lot of courage and it takes a lot of care for others, because through your sharing, people can relate to your circumstances.
Yeah.
Thank you. In the room itself, how many of you, in a show of hands, are caregivers? Yes. So about half the room. Any of you receiving care from others? Recipients of care? Yes? Okay, thank you. Either as a caregiver or recipient of care, what is particularly challenging for you? One or two things. The mic will be given to you if you wish to share, so that the online audience also will benefit. Would you like to say something?
I care for 3 people with 3 very different needs, and in 3 completely different age. Well, 2 in one age category and another one in completely different category. So I think that's really difficult.
That's difficult. It compounds.
Can everyone hear
No,
Online.
it's the online audience that can't pick up.
Got it. Yes.
Yeah, so varying needs and different categories, types of people that you need to care for. 3 is a lot for one person.
Yes.
Wow, okay. Anything else? Okay, thank you very much. Anyone else would like to share any particular challenge that you have as a caregiver? Yes. Mic here, please.
Oh, sorry. Hi, sir. Can you? Here you go. Sure.
Thank you.
Good evening. It's not on here. Hello.
Just push it up.
Hello. Can you hear me? Okay, I just want to share I would say a very bad experience that in my life and my families and my parents itself. When my mom got cancer, it was very tough. They passed away many years back, and my dad passed away heart, okay? But eventually, I also have brain tumor. In fact, I operated 4 times in my life. I survived 35 years already, okay? But the words that's what is good to know is that before I go into the operation theater, it's Maui, okay? My dad pat me on the back. He said, he speak in Cantonese, in English means steady. Steady, brother, steady, move on. So from that words, they say, when times are not come to death yet, you won't die, simply you won't die, but it's very tough. But with that words, I managed to go through 4 operations on the head, and subsequently I'm okay. In fact, my head is a screw and a titanium plate inside. I'm still very sound. I'm still doing IT system engineering, meaning that it's a blessing from God itself. Pray and seek, and end of the day, never give up. Steady, whatever it happens, it happens. But then if times is not come yet, you won't die. We suffer, but then by doing the caregiving love that you have, it's a wonderful miracle that it happens, you see. No, don't ever give up hope on anything. I wish the people have it's a mindset thing that how firm and how strong and decisive to make decision to move on. Because if not, then you will come to a very blank mind, you don't know what to do, and then eventually the scary part will come into your mind, and at the end of the day, you will go. So don't ever give up in that. That's why I pity her, but then it's very tough, but then stay strong, mind strong, move on. And then end of the day, it's a blessing for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. What you're describing is a form of optimism where you don't give up and you try and overcome. But when it is tough, I think it's all right to articulate the difficulties, lack of sleep, extreme fatigue, emotionally drained, as well as struggles that we face in the guilt that we feel sometimes, not being able to satisfy everyone's needs. I think these are ongoing challenges that most caregivers face. And if we look at statistics, would you say it's the female or male gender that are larger proportion of the caregivers in society?
Female.
Right? Without a doubt. And if you look at the people that are caregivers, larger proportion are female and holding on to a job. The American statistics is 3 out of 5. So you're torn in so many directions. Professionally, you have to perform. At home, you have things going on. And it is extremely tough.
When my father passed away on April 29th, I made the decision to work part-time because my mother and me will be alone. And leaving her for half a day is also very scary for me because she is prone to falls. She had fallen so many times. And but that is the best that we can do for now until maybe we get a helper, but it will cost, and I have to work out my finances first. And but I like this arrangement where I go half day to my office and I come back and be with her and work on my books and other projects. So it's a happy combination, and I'm very proud of her because she is at 83. She still can go to the Sheng Siong downstairs, buy some stuff, go up, and then cook a meal, simple meal, you know. And even though she's walking with a walking stick now, because it's to help her balance, because she's prone to falls. And I look at her, wow, has it been this long? When I was ill, she was 56. She was 58 when I was ill the first time. And now she is 83. Yeah, it's been a long journey. I can see her growing old. Later, I will show you some nice photos of my parents. Yeah, so so it's just that life comes full circle after everybody has to grow old and somebody has to take care of the old. And when the babies are young, also somebody have to take care of the young children. Yeah, so for me, I was freelance. I was working from home for home office, and I was taking care of 2 babies, and my mother-in-law was helping me. So it's all in the family, and my mother-in-law is now sometimes gets worried about who's going to take care of her. I mean, she has a son, but I would like to assure her, and I have assured her that we will take care of the grandchildren, and myself will take care of her if anything happens, because it's very sad for old people to not know that if anything is, if somebody will be there for them. And I think we have to have that respect and that love for our parents. Yeah. And for us Muslims, it's not an ex-mother-in-law, it's mother-in-law forever. Yeah.
Even after divorce.
Yes.
Thank you. And for those of us, the caregivers or recipients of care, if you could ask for one thing, you have one wish, what would it be? I know in Singapore we are fairly fortunate. We can hire help at home to help with the caregiving, which also depends, I suppose, on the family's income and what they can apportion to having that kind of help, sometimes more than one. But there are countries where they don't have that ease. If you had a wish, what would that one wish be? Would it be resource in the time of money? Would it be time away from work? Would it be extra help at home? Would it be something where the government has built homes, especially in a way assisted living homes where it's facilitated so that prevention of falls, all the things that may go wrong are then in a way planned for. It doesn't guarantee that there's never zero risk, but in a way, if you had one wish, what would it be? Anyone, just if you want to say something, you can ask for the mic or just shout it out.
For me, having lived in a mood disorder unit for quite a few times, it's like a cat but freedom in a way. So I'm more open to the idea of a community living in the future if it doesn't suit my kids to have me with them. You know, because I like being with friends and I enjoy the perks, you know, of community living, yeah.
So
If for me, I would look forward to it, like, I call it like my boarding school kind of thing.
yes, with other boarders in the school, right?
Yeah.
And they are, in a way, experiencing what you're experiencing, right? So there's a certain similarity and similar needs. And again, if it's mental health, it's unlike physical health. It's highly stigmatized, whether we like it or not.
Yes.
So when we're with others of the same ilk, experiencing the same thing, actually we don't feel that stigma so much, right?
Yeah, for me, I don't care about stigma because I'm never, I don't let it affect me because I just do me and I can be wild and crazy and from outer space from time to time, but it's just me and I accept me and it's okay. Yeah, and if people don't accept me, it's none of my business. They better accept themselves.
Anyone else has anything to add? So I guess the
Would you put it in the sense of appreciation moment in time, meaning that the opportunity given, you know, although it's sad that somebody are sick or whatever, I mean, if you see your mom or dad, actually, in fact, my missus is in coma hospital 5 years already. It's very sad for me to look after. But then I say, the opportunity given to me, even though I'm sick or whatever, I seek for miracles. It happens. Miracles in the form of classes like that, in knowledge, where you know what to do, how to do it. And you feel it's a blessing that you have this opportunity to do while the person is still alive, still kicking, although it's in coma, fine, doesn't matter. It's a journey to life, that's it.
Yes.
I will tell most of the people, even my colleagues, whatever, life is just a journey. It won't last forever, but do what is able to be done now at this precious moment. Appreciate the time, because we don't know what the next year will be another pandemic coming, nobody will really know. I also got COVID last year, but then I survived because I have explored knowledge, how to go about it. I hopefully that our Miss there able to have this strong mindset. I have a very strong mindset because when I was going to the operation theater, what the hell, man? Who can help? Nobody. I just pray, and sickness comes to my mind. Being steady, fight the odds, Although it's not time yet, you won't go. Basically, you just survive and go through because that is the miracle that God has given me. A very strong mind, that is, hopefully people will able to adapt and absorb that mindset because things are scary. If somebody dying, it's very scary. I've seen people dying during my army days, got shot in their leg, whatever. I said, being shot and scary, no use. As you say, as caregiver, you have to be very strong and very detailed. Even back my office years back, people who collapsed because I was trained in CPR, people said panic. I said, I don't panic. If you panic, you as a caregiver, how are they going to help? We say, it's sad, you see somebody dying or whatever, it's sad, but then do your utmost at the point, that moment, the short moment on time. That's, you either you save a person's life or that's it. But times permit you to do so. Please be strong and move on. Thank you.
Thank you. Not everyone has the same strengths as well, I guess. And if we ourselves suffer from depression and anxiety, a combination of all those things, then it's even harder, I guess. Yeah. I'm going to move on to the questions and answers. One of them is from Feng Ming. Thank you for sharing your story, Yohanna. So this is going to be, you have made a powerful point about how even those who are ill can be caregivers in the way they give emotional support to others. So you receive, you give, and it's sort of moving around quite dynamically. Another question, I used to be very impulsive in the past. When I'm not well, how do you manage to cope with making impulsive decisions and saying the wrong things in person and on social media during these impulsive moments?
I think impulsive can be when you're so-called normal and just impulsive, right? And you can be, like me, having a manic moment and be very impulsive and write all kinds of things in social media.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
And what happens? What are the consequences?
Well, people know that you are in that having a moment.
Oh, they do know.
They know.
So
they can tell. They've seen me for over because I'm a very public figure, but I'm less public now. But when I go public, because I have not been on social media so much lately, but when I do, it means that, and I say something out of the blue, out of nowhere, they know that, oh, she's having a moment, as my manager says that.
So for people who know you, they would know, but people who don't know you well and don't know that you're out of character, how?
I wouldn't know. I did a WhatsApp group this last time, and I randomly invited people from my contact list, and I told some stories, prophetic stories about the world and having a nuclear war, and there will be that. It's quite funny actually, which I'm going to use for my stories. You need to use a reversible umbrella. Have anybody seen a reversible umbrella? Yeah, it's very cute. So I thought that if you use the reversible umbrella, you would be protected from the nuclear rain fallout. So I put all this kind of very funny things inside my WhatsApp group that I randomly invite people. So of course some immediately left, some wait to see what's going on with Yohanna, and kindly drop out and wish me the best. These are my friends, and some just stayed until the end. Now no more news.
Okay.
Yeah. So these are the funny things that I do, but people might think that they have to pity me, but I don't want to be pitied. As a person with bipolar disorder, I think I wouldn't say it's a gift, but I use the experience as fodder for my craft. So it's
Which
like
is
if
your
I
writing.
Yeah. So if you throw me lemons, I'll always make lemonade. You know, or maybe like I make durian, I don't know. But just for me, I feel that we are all creators. Whatever we are mini creators, and we create our lives according to what we feel and want and vision. Yeah. So I love my life the way it is, with my mother, spending time with her in the morning before I go to work. And this morning we went to, the whole morning was spent at Ng Teng Fong Hospital. Another one tomorrow at Ng Teng Fong Hospital again. So that is my life with my mother, because she used to take me to all the psychiatrists. Now I'm taking her to her heart specialist, to her eye specialist, and her other specialists. And that's my life now, and I think of it as giving back to her for what she has done for me. Yeah, and it's a pleasure. It's really a pleasure, and I think people who don't see it as a pleasure are a bit wasted lah. Yeah, because it's a blessing, like she said, it's a blessing to take care of people. It's a blessing to appreciate life. Appreciate another person in your life, because that person may not be there for long. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Very wise. Thank you,
Yeah.
Yohanna. There's another question about how, to interact with people who have mental illness and in some cases have violent behaviors.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any advice?
I actually don't know of anybody who had violent behaviors towards others. They may self-harm. They may try to commit suicide, but all the friends that I have, a lot of them, they do not, as far as I know, so-called, I don't want to say normal, but so-called ordinary people with no mental health history, they are more prone to violence than one with mental health history.
That's your observation, right?
Yeah. I think I don't have any numbers to quote, but I don't know.
And when people feel awkward interacting with someone with mental conditions, what advice would you give them? Because you're on the other side of the mirror.
Yeah. So I just take them as they are. Just give them a listening ear and accept them. It's acceptance of differences, because like it or not, we are all different. We are the same, but we are different. Yeah. So just accept differences and not be afraid of them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's often a component of fear.
Yeah.
But it's probably due to ignorance, right? Because
Yes.
we're not sure what to expect.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Can I ask a question?
Yes,
Does
sir.
a bipolar person, when he reacts, can he remember, what is the percentage he can remember when he's violent or he's out of order? How much can he remember with the person, like maybe with your mother? Your mother can remember you when you are violent or when you speak. So what do you think is the percentage if I ask you to recall? Would you, I don't think
I can-
the
I cannot
bipolar
put a
person can recall
percentage.
100%, right?
Actually, my memory is very good. I can remember everything, especially when I'm in mania, almost photographic memory.
Mm-hmm.
I know what I did to people, what I did. And usually I don't do much to people. People do things to me. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
For
you.
one, I love my father very much, but when I was in high dependency unit, I said something that he didn't like. He punched me in the face. That is a normal person, but I love him. Okay, he's a very nice guy, and he never touched me in other ways before. But I was very, you can tell that I'm a very in-your-face person, right? Can you tell?
Can I tell one?
When I'm polite, but if I'm high, I can be a very in-your-face person. I'll tell you frankly what I think of you. That is not violence. That is just honesty. Yeah. So if you cannot take it, then you might punch me lah. And who's the violent one?
Yohanna, you're very frank, right?
But because male and female, female is often seen as violent person. What about male and male?
Wait, I
There's
just
a
want to
hard
credit.
male and there's a soft
I want to
male.
credit my mom.
You know?
She never hit me once. In all the frustration that she had with me, she was very patient. She never hit me once. That's why I tell her, come today. Because I want to applaud her. She deserves so much accolades.
So can your mother speak?
You ask her lah.
Boleh cakap sedikit, makcik? Boleh cakap sedikit, kasih nengat, rumahnya ini. Saya mau belajar, saya pun ada kawan.
Tak nak.
Okay. So yeah, so I feel because we have different experience. Because what you say is yeah, because there's male and female, but there are occasions there's male and female, the caregiver, but there are also male and male, there are female and female, right? There are male and female, and there are female and male. Then because there are many variations sometimes,
Yes.
you know, of the two variation, male and female, it's broken up, you know. But so of course I understand. Yeah, don't worry. Yeah, I understand.
I don't know. My mother never slapped me because she's scared I slap her back.
Okay.
There is a comment from a nurse. She says, I'm a nurse by profession. We all have imperfections in the family with our weaknesses and strengths. And it's painful and hurting situations that are not easy to forgive and accept. She also goes on to talk about where she works in Singapore and how the lack of manpower is stretching them, and the work that they have to do gives exhaustion, makes them become impatient. For me, it is an invitation to practice good dispositions, because you just have to go above and beyond, right? It's tough. Anyone else has experienced that before?
I just want to thank the mood disorder unit nurses for being so beautiful and kind and funny, even though they don't have time to do much to talk about, because they are busy, you know, they're busy doing their things. But in their moments, they will actually spend some time with you, yeah. And for the student nurses who come and visit us, they are caregivers also. They will play games with us, talk to us, yeah. And one of them is there. Yeah, so I keep in touch with my friends that I make at MDU, and of course other friends, because actually I'm a collector of friends. Yeah, you ask me what I collect. I collect plants, 70 odd plants in my home, but that's not the real deal. The real deal is friends. Yeah.
Nice collection that you have.
Yeah.
And for our young student nurse, would you like to say something? Because this is quite a vocation, a calling for you to choose this. Did you particularly choose in mental health wards, or?
Well, I'm here today with my girlfriend who is diagnosed with a mental disorder, but more so present because after my fair share of experiences with her episodes and her struggles, I really want to learn more. So it all goes back to my nursing experience. I didn't really get to choose the ward. In fact, it was allocated to me by the school. And that was my first exposure to the mental health system, as well as those there. And it's just like Yohanna said, there are a lot of characters, none of which you can predict. She is not exaggerating. And if anything, I would say a lot are quick to judge. When they see someone unlike them, they can't help but think this person is insane or this person is abnormal, therefore shall be ostracized, outcasted. And humbly speaking, I feel that is unkind, but from some perspective, understandable, because it has never been seen before in their lenses, in their eyes. Personally, I was kind of like that too to certain patients, but it took me a few conversations with them to actually build an understanding that whatever they do, it's unintentional and they really mean no harm. If anything, their hardships are proof that they are just human, similar to the rest of us, and also want to feel appreciated just like we do. So as a student nurse, right now still studying, I will say that it doesn't hurt to be kind, and if you can't understand and put yourself in that person's shoes, and in actual reality many of us are incapable of doing so, listen. I feel like listening is it is a skill, but it's also something that many can achieve to do, and it's far more feasible than understanding. Because personally, me in a relationship, as well as me having connections with those mentally struggling, I fail to understand, since I do not fall in that spectrum, since I have not had my fair share of experiences dealing with such issues. And that has bite me back, because I cannot relate. However, I do what can be done, and I do try to listen. And I think that is something that can be worked on, currently working on, and many people should cultivate as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. My research was mainly on empathy. First of all, can it be taught? Because that would solve a lot of problems in the world, right? And you're right. Taking someone's perspective, walking in their shoes, these are all the things we describe empathy to be. It's not easy. There are certain jobs, especially yours, where you can also be a victim of empathy fatigue, right? You're depleted because you spend a lot of time doing that, right? And then after a while, you're just numb to the whole thing, which then defeats the purpose, because the whole idea of empathy is to be able to continue to feel, to understand, to listen with intent. Yeah? So resilience for caregivers is the ability, for anyone, is the ability to bounce back. How do you replenish yourself? How do you care for yourself so that you can come back with a re-energized, with a lot of will and, that happiness and feeling superpowered to be able to do that? Because that depletion is very real in a lot of professions, and we call them the helping professions. Teachers as well, priests, firemen, policemen, because you're helping others all the time, right? And so one is empathy fatigue, or empathy depletion, compassion fatigue. They're similar notions, because these jobs require a lot of emotional labor. So not only your physical labor, but emotional labor. Yeah. So caregivers are going to be prone to that. So you have to make sure that your cup is filled. If you're running on empty, then you won't be able to do it for very long. And that's where caregiver burnout occurs, right? So, yes, ma'am. Lovely that you raised your hands. Can someone give her the mic, please?
Okay. I think what Yohanna said about community even if you are in that community which is seeking help. I think that's very important because there is that support for one another. So in the caring professions, it is very important in the workplace to have chats, conversations with your colleagues to, not say to vent, but to work things out. But sometimes you get so frustrated even when you, so that's when actually you need to take a break. Maybe go on half load, go on maybe 3-month break, 6-month break, and then rethink what the purpose of you working in that place is. So I think that's very important. And then I think that community, if they share an idea of who they want to serve and what they want to see, and they feel that they're achieving something in terms of support. I'm not saying that you're making them better. I'm not saying that it's going to be a big success. It's just the small little things every day that actually make a difference and give you that resilience to move on.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
That's how come, so we always had this joke, Singapore NS men, we always win #1, in the international. We're always the first. Why? Because we're so scared, we support one another, fear, and we come out first. Something like that.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, supporting one another is really important in the workplace as well, in families, because when things are well, we forget about support, but it's when things go pear-shaped that support is really important. So in the workplace, for example, we had well-being champions, and peer support groups as well, and they may not know all the answers. Most times we can't fix things because it takes a lot to fix, but being able to listen, able to point people in the right direction when they're looking for something, and when a true peer supporter is able to be vulnerable and share their own problems, so people don't feel they're talking to, a Martian. You're just like me, and that's what I think that support pulls people together in their common humanity. Yeah,
I agree with you, because in my organization, the program executives are actually peer support specialists, and we deal directly with the clients, doing activities daily. So it's good because they know that we are also facing our own struggles, and that's when we can empathize more, and it's not it's true empathy and wanting a desire to help them go through their journey together. And also, I want to say something about a difference between pity and empathy, because pity is as people with mental health conditions, the last thing that we need is pity. Yeah, because it's like it's a bit of looking down on you, and it doesn't feel good on us, because we are normal human beings too, and we just happen to have mental health challenges. But empathy is great. When somebody can give you empathy, you feel that you're being heard, and you feel that there are going to be solutions. There is hope with their empowerment and with their acceptance and with their love. Club HEAL actually stands for Hope, Empowerment, Acceptance, and Love. Yeah, so it's a very cute little, it's very meaningful kind of formula, to give to anybody who is struggling with mental illness. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I think there's a saying, they say sympathy is cheap, empathy is gold, because pity, like sympathy, is it's not the same level. You tend to
Yes.
look down, right?
Yes.
Poor you. But having said poor you, there's no
Action.
active action or no deliberate care
Yes.
or help. It's
Yeah.
just poor you.
Yeah.
And no one feels good when they hear that, right?
Yes.
So it has to translate into trying to help. And listening on its own is already a big help,
Yes,
right?
it is.
Empathetic listening.
Yeah. Because as peer support specialists, we are not out to offer solutions even. We're just listening and just reframing what they want to do. It has to come up from them.
Yes.
Yeah, the answers must come up from them.
Correct.
Yeah.
It's a bit like counseling as well. You don't go and see a counselor to get all the solutions or answers, right? But you work through and find them through the reflection and what your goals are, and you actually have to execute them yourself, right? There's no magic answer. Yeah. Any other questions from the live audience? And then I will check for the online audience.
We think that the school should be teaching more empathy because we have COVID, we have got weather chaos, we got different subjects like nuclear and tsunami, the weather, the water rising, and there are a lot of mental problems as people go through COVID. So there are unexplained, illness that falls into this gap too. After the COVID experience that bring a lot of people downfall from their businesses to family, parents coping with their survival, and minority people having to feel the discrimination and all that. So don't you think our school and education system should bring more practical subject like empathy subject to a level, as a subject, because we can have all the intellect experience on computer, on science, but we lack of this human emotion experiences with one another. The school should be teaching us and putting us in places or in institutions to experience, whether with the mental, with the old, with the young, with the whatever delinquents or whatever, to put us through this kind of program, attachment. It will greatly help the earth to be better, I think. I think it's not only the social worker, the policeman, fireman, or whatever, the counselor. It is every one of us are caught in different situations. Our friends, our relative, our cousin, one of them could be, having the problem that you are not having, and then you cannot understand, and you think that the person is insane because he reacts this way. But you don't see and feel, empathize for it. So don't you think we should press the government to develop more of this empathy subject as one subject, in our human criteria, to pass, because we need one another to survive in this earth,
I think as a society, we're very good at passing exams. The head knowledge for empathy, everyone would score 100 out of 100. However, the proof of the pudding would be in the display of empathy day to day, right? And I think we have to flip it. If we start rewarding people rather than the best grades in class only for STEM subjects, could the awards be for the kindest person, the most helpful, the most...
Yes.
And that's where the empathy would then become part of our DNA, because we're actually saying it's a good thing and we're acknowledging, rewarding, and recognizing people for that. Till now, we're only looking at scholastic abilities in different areas, so we don't think kindness is going to get you into very good jobs or well-paying jobs. So it would be good to teach it, I think, but after that, if it's not displayed or it's not part of us, And I often use this example. You know how with the police car is nearby, you put your signal, you'll stop when it's amber, you behave really. So, but when there's nobody looking, are you still going to be empathetic? Are you still going to be kind? Simply because it's hardwired into you. It's now your DNA. It's not my school knowledge. I was taught and I passed the exams. And that would make a big difference. We wouldn't have so many wars. We would have a much better, I mean, we've seen too many wars between last year and now. It's just not been good, right? So what happened to all that empathy and compassion? Yohanna, you can have the last word. I'm a teacher, so I can talk forever.
I wish I brought one of my poems, but it's okay.
Why don't we share it online after the event? You give it to us and we can put it up together with the video.
Okay. So I just want to thank everyone for making your time to come here. And to talk about your last point about teaching empathy. Yes, I believe that we should teach empathy, and yes, we should we should reward empathetic acts and kindness, So I don't know whether we had a kindness movement before. We had, right?
Yes.
Yeah, we had a courtesy movement or something. Yeah, so how well does this campaigns work?
The kindness movement, William Wang aids an organization. So, but then, I suppose they are trying their best to implement it and to make things work. I have no say because I am not from the organization. I know they have like maybe 20, 30 of us staff or whatever, or slightly more working on it. I've been to one of the events before, so I thought like you said, the practical one. And sometimes it's very difficult to teach when you do give scenario. And it is where people like you coming up so bravely to share your experience is an important, it helps people to see through, genuine cases, and true cases of mother and daughter here, So, it's like in this kind of session, it does help to amplify, when stories are told personally. So I don't have any say for kindness movement in Singapore, But it's good they have a movement like that. But like you say, how much of application or how the action is taken, it would be great to see more school giving award, giving this and that, and showing the kindness person, the act that the person is doing, or the child from young to the adult experience the pain. And then kindness also comes in a package. Like if you want to help people, you must be prepared to get burned, to be burned, to be hurt. Yes. So I think that, like what you say, is very sacred. So these are things that we cannot teach so easily in school. Like you are saying, you're doing a thesis on empathy. How do you show it to a client? He is a nurse. He knows because he has experience. So when he comes out as a nurse to talk to the school, people can learn something from him. You see, so we don't have this much, people going out to really show the school or the kindness movement to put to get people into because it can happen any hour, any moment, any second, any time to anyone, So it's like love is a mystery out there, for you to find your puzzle, who fits the puzzle. And then when I got tested in my life, then when I look back, thankfully I didn't listen to some of my friends who say I should take that way. Maybe it's empathy, or is empathy that, or is the kindness that maybe heals myself when I forgive. So I think that is my take.
Just to just be kind and it will create a ripple effect. You know, you spread it from one person, it will spread to the next person around. Show empathy, and people, you know, we learn not just through books, we learn by example. I mean, how I learned to be kind is from my mother, you know, so it starts with the family, and the family has to, then when we go to school, we are kind and empathetic friend, you know, so it becomes more, it spills out like a ripple of the water. Yeah.
Thank you, Yohanna. I want to thank you for your honesty and being vulnerable in such a big group. I want to thank your mum. Terima kasih, Makcik. I'll hand the floor back to Vignesh.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Dr. Maleena and Yohanna for sharing with us today very candidly, very openly, and making themselves vulnerable.
Thank you.
I think we learned a lot today. We learned a lot about the challenges that many who are suffering with mental health issues face on a day-to-day basis. We also learned a lot about the challenges that the caregivers, those who are living, those who are looking after, those who are giving up a part of themselves so as to help and care for those with mental illnesses. We spoke a lot about empathy, and we talked about empathy in schools. Just reminds me of last year when I visited a school called the Empathy School in Bali, where empathy is the core part of subject. But ladies and gentlemen, empathy starts with each and every one of us. It starts with the way we treat the person next to us, the way we treat the server in the restaurant, the way we treat the person taking our order at McDonald's. If it's an elderly person, are we getting frustrated? Are we rushing them? Are we getting bothered that our food's not coming as quickly as we want? Do we get irritated and angry when a waiter or a server is not pleasant to us, not nice, or maybe gets our order wrong? Do we treat the people around us with respect and dignity? It starts there. Empathy starts there. So I urge each and every one of you as you leave this room, be empathetic, be caring, be kind to everyone around you, and especially be kind to my colleagues, because they've had a very long day and the aircon's going to shut off soon. But ladies and gentlemen, those of you who have joined us both in person and online, thank you very much. But before I close, let me share a little bit about what we have planned for our next speaker series and our next THF dialogue. We are touching on the issue of wellness. Today we talked about mental health, not just of the individual who's suffering with mental health challenges, but also for the caregiver. And our next session, which is towards the tail end of February, we're very excited to have Christopher Liao, an urban farmer, I'm not going to try to pronounce that, an urban farmer who has been working on how can you bring urban farming as a form of wellness and therapy for many individuals. He has had significant success working across Singapore and is bringing a lot of his ideas outside Singapore. So I urge you to join us if you wish online, or please do come and join us in person. Registration links will be available on our website pretty soon, so please feel free to join us. But for those of us who are joining online, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for spending the evening with us, and I hope you found the sharing to be helpful and honest. And I know many of you are joining us are going through your own journeys or challenges, but know that there are always communities out there who care and who listen, join, speak, and interact that can help lift some of your burdens. So those of you who are joining us online, thank you very much. And for those of you who are joining us in the room, thank you very much.